Good day, viewers. My name is Audrey Polton. Welcome to Lesson 2 for Grade 8 Mathematics. The lesson topic for today is multiplying factors. Let's have a look at the lesson objectives. By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to define an expression, multiply factors. Algebra is a very old branch of mathematics in which normal operations and processes are carried out, but without using actual numbers. You can think about it as generalizing the operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Letters of the alphabet are used to represent numbers. Maths has its own vocabulary or jargon, and there are many new words and phrases which you will come across. This is one of the reasons that students find high school maths so challenging. It's almost like learning another language. I will try to explain some of the basics so that at least the words are less confusing. I would love to make everyone agree with this statement that you see on the screen, but sadly, that will probably never happen. We all love maths is a typical English sentence. It conveys information. It has a capital letter and a full stop, a subject, a verb, and a direct object. It is made up of 4 words, which are separated from each other by spaces. Each word is made up of letters, which represent sounds. In the same way, we can also write in our algebraic sentence 3xy plus 4x squared y minus 9y to the power 3z plus 7yz. A math sentence is called an expression. It also conveys information. The maths words are called terms. They have plus or minus signs between them. Each term is made up of factors. They are all multiplied together. You can now see a direct comparison between English and math sentences. One of the rules in algebra is that you do not need to show the multiplication signs between the letters like 4xy. Numbers which are multiplied together are called factors. Like in 4xy, there are 3 factors. A letter which represents a number is called a variable, like A, B, C, M, P, X, Y, Z, etc. We obviously cannot write number factors without the multiplication signs. Else, 2 times 3 times 5 would look like 235. If a factor is repeated, we can use an index to show how many of the same factor are being multiplied. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 can be written as 2 to the power of 5. This means there are 5 2's multiplied together. The 2 is called the base and the 5 is called the index or exponent. Y times y times y times y times y can be written as y to the power of 5. This means there are 5 y's multiplied together. The y is called the base and the 5 is called the index or exponent. Wow! In a relatively short time, we have used many new words. It is important that you know them all and understand what they mean. Write down the list of words shown. These are words which you will hear again and again as you learn to do algebra. Now that you have learned some of the basic terminologies and concepts, let's use them in doing some algebraic calculations, often called algebraic manipulation. Let's start with multiplication, which is the easiest part of algebra to master. Remember, we said we do not need to write the multiplication signs, and repeated factors can be shown using an index. Also, we usually write the variables in a term in alphabetical order. A times B times A times A has 4 prime factors, and it can be written as A to the power 3B, which just means A, B. P times Q times R times P times R has 5 prime factors. It can be written as PPQRR, or in a simpler way as P to the power 2 QR to the power 2. In each case, we followed the same method. Leave out the multiplication signs, arrange the variables in alphabetical order, and show any factors that are repeated with an index. This is how each term in an expression is simplified. Here is a longer expression to simplify. It is different from the ones we have seen before. Do you notice that this time there are plus and minus signs as well as multiplication signs? There are 3 terms. Simplify each term separately. We get a squared b plus ab squared plus a squared b squared. This is where many students find algebra confusing. In arithmetic, where we use numbers, there is always only one final answer. In algebra, that is not the case. If variables and terms are not exactly the same, we cannot add or subtract them. We call them unlike terms. They all have factors of a and b, but each term has a different combination of factors. This is as far as we can simplify. Do not be tempted to try to go further. Stop. The final answer is a squared b plus ab squared plus a squared b squared. So, now you have another 2 words to add to your list. Like terms are exactly the same, while unlike terms are different. Many students who are new to algebra find this concept hard to accept. In algebra, an answer can have many terms. It is not always possible to simplify to a single answer the way we did before in arithmetic. Now that you have seen how it is done, it's time for you to try an example yourself. Write the expression on the screen down and simplify it. Did you remember to count the number of terms first? Look for the plus and minus signs which separate terms from each other. This must become an automatic habit in algebra. There are 3 terms. They each have 4 prime factors, but they each have a different combination of the factors. These are unlike terms, so we cannot simplify further. Now that you've learned something about simplifying terms in algebra, let's learn a rule about multiplying in algebra. A quick recap first. X to the power of 6 means 6 x factors multiplied together. Y to the power of 4 means 4 y factors multiplied together. How would you simplify the expression x to the power of 4 multiply with x to the power of 3? There are no plus and minus signs, so this is all one term. To understand the question better, let's write each part without the indices. This shows us that 4x factors are being multiplied by 3x factors. We also know that we can leave out the multiplication sign, which just means there are 7x factors multiplied together. Write x to the power of 7. Do you notice that although we were multiplying, we did not multiply the 4 and the 3 to get 12? That is because the 4 and the 3 are indices. We are multiplying lots of x factors together. X is the base. However, 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. The law for multiplying in algebra states, if the bases are the same and you are multiplying, you keep that same base and add the indices. Remember that if no index is written, it means there is a 1 there. M to the power of 5 times m to the power of 3 is equal to m to the power of 8, because 5 plus 3 is 8. Y to the power of 8 times y to the power of 4 is equal to y to the power of 12, because 8 plus 4 is 12. B to the power of 2 times b to the power of 7 is b to the power of 9, because 2 plus 7 is 9. P times p to the power of 6 times p to the power of 2 is equal to p to the power of 9, because 6 plus 2 plus 1 is 9. So far, we have worked mostly with variables. But what if there are numbers as well? Simplify can mean to carry out whatever operations are shown, in this case multiplication. We can rewrite it with all the number factors together and all the variable factors together. While this makes it easier to understand, it is not necessary to rewrite the expression. Just multiply the numbers in front together and then add the indices of the same basis. The number at the front of the coefficient is called the numerical coefficient. So, we can simplify our multiplication rule into 2 easy steps. Multiply the numbers in front together and then add the indices of the same basis. We've come to the end of the lesson. Let's have a look at the lesson summary. Algebra operations are carried out using lowercase or small letters of the alphabet to represent numbers. An expression is made up of terms which are separated from each other by plus or minus signs. A, B, C, M, P, X, Y, and Z, etc. are called variables. Algebraic manipulation is the operations of algebra. If variables and terms are not exactly the same, we cannot add or subtract them. We call them unlike terms. Only add or subtract terms if the terms are exactly the same, called like terms. If the bases are the same and you are multiplying, you keep that same base and add the indices. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Until next time, goodbye.